multi-use community centre. Thank you. This new community centre will replace Bracebridge's arena and library with a new, accessible and integrated recreational facility for all residents to enjoy. The multi-use community centre will include a 1,000-seat arena, a modern public library, a community hall, an accessible indoor multi-use field house with a double gymnasium and walking track, and ample on-site parking. Surrounding the community centre will be outdoor play spaces and beautiful trails. While the town of Bracebridge is funding the arena, the provincial funding will allow all the other parts of the facility, including the library and field house, to go ahead now as well. I think this is a great design that will make it much easier for parents who have to juggle their children's activities. One child can be at skating lessons or hockey practice, while another is doing their homework in the library, all in one place. By investing in local projects here in Bracebridge and across the province, Ontario is helping to create stronger and healthier communities, create jobs, and contribute to our province's economic recovery and growth. I'm pleased that residents of Bracebridge will benefit from this investment for years to come. And I personally am looking forward to playing hockey in the new arena. I'd like to thank Mayor Smith and Chair Klink for their efforts to bring this important project to life for the people of Bracebridge. Thank you, and it's now my honor to welcome Premier Ford to Muskoka and to the platform here. Premier Ford.
Well, it's great to be up in Muskoka, and it's great to be here in Bracebridge, and thank you so much, Norm, for that introduction. Anyone who lives around here knows that the champion MPP Norm Miller is for the people in Parry Sound, Muskoka. His family's been working on your behalf for decades, and you won't find anyone more committed to this area. That's why it's such an honor for me to be here with him to announce an investment of $16 million into building a new multi-purpose community center. And I've always, it's actually right in the heart of Bracebridge, I've always said community centers are absolutely critical in every single area throughout this province. It brings people together. And there's a couple other champions I got to mention. My good friend, Mayor Smith. I have to tell you, and Norm knows this, Mayor, I think you called me every single week, literally every single week, to find out what was going on. So he was pushing it, but that, you know, you're doing your job when you call me every single week. Along with the district Muskoka chair, John Klink, and chair, you're right behind it and doing a great job as well for the whole area, and the district council as well. This has been a true Team Ontario effort, and it will benefit the people of Bracebridge for decades to come. Bringing vital infrastructure projects like this into hard-working Ontario communities is a priority for this government. And we know that community centres are the heart and soul of towns like Bracebridge. And you heard Norm talk about the story about playing hockey. I can promise you, as soon as we get this arena built, this old guy here is going to slap on the skates and we're going to go for a little skate around. What it does, it brings people together for recreational activities, events, and learning opportunities. And I know that coming together as a community has been sorely missed for the past 15 months. But standing here today, I can say that the light at the end of the tunnel is brighter than ever before. As we proceed on Wednesday into step 2 of the provincial reopening, our frontline heroes deserve all the credit. And so I just want to mention another shout out to our frontline heroes in the town of Bracebridge, and especially the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit, for all your efforts throughout this COVID-19. And folks, I got to tell you, they sent me a text the other day, and the people of Ontario get all the credit, the frontline healthcare heroes. They sent me a message that we did 250,000, and it seems like a common number now, but you just think of 250,000, that's 1/4 of the entire US in one day. So 330 million versus 15 million. It just shows what champions we have here in Ontario, and we wouldn't be here without each and every one of them. And we're truly, truly grateful for everything you've done. I want to thank you. God bless Ontario and the people here. They're absolutely incredible. So now I'm going to send it to the mayor of all mayors, the champs of all champs, Graydon Smith. Thank you.
Well, Premier, to be fair, I think I gave you a couple of weeks off from my calls over Christmas and New Year's. But to Premier Ford and our distinguished guests today, MPP Miller, District Chair Klink, I welcome you all to Bracebridge on behalf of council, staff, and most importantly, the citizens of Bracebridge and the communities throughout Muskoka. I share our collective excitement for today's announcement that will chart a new, better path for recreation, learning, and culture in Bracebridge and Muskoka for decades to come. The near $17 million of funding announced today allows for the dreams of many to be realized. We are already on the path of replacing our 70-year-old arena, but our community needed more. It needed a new library, a modern, accessible, state-of-the-art facility to replace 110 years of wonderful history at our current location. While beautiful, it's become weary and unable to keep up with the growth and demands of our modern town. The community needed a space that can be used for sports year-round, that can be accessed by soccer players, baseball players, our tennis club, lawn bowling, basketball, pickleball, and when it's not being used for that, can transform into event space, allowing for more things to take place right here in Bracebridge. This funding allows for those dreams to be fulfilled, allows us to proceed with what was always our plan A, to build these facilities together all at once so they could become a multi-generational hub of activity and services all under one roof. A 1,000-seat arena, a modern public library, an indoor multi-sport field house, community auditorium, outdoor play areas and trails, and someday even another ice surface when the need and time is right. We were on a path to some of it, not knowing when we would get a chance to have all of it. Thank you again to the Premier and the province for their generosity and recognition that this project is a game changer. We would not be here today if it were not for the incredible hard work of a lot of people over a very long period of time. Our first meeting started taking place just after I was elected mayor over 10 years ago, and we've worked together as a community to dream, discuss, and design. Thank you to all who've contributed to what begins today. Thank you to our steering committee, Councillor Chris Wilson, Councillor Mark Quemby, Councillor Archie Bowie, Library Board Chair Barb Hutchinson, Library CEO Catherine Rodney, Director of Finance Paul Judson, and a very special thank you to two people that have led this project on the staff end tirelessly. Our Director of Recreation, Cindy O'Regan, who may have woke up with a smile on her face today for the first time in a long time, and CEO Stephen Reddy, who may have slept last night for the first time in a long time. I also want to recognize and thank our former CAO, John Sisson, who retired last year and for more than a decade guided town staff and this project through a lot of stages. Thanks also to our amazing external team at MJMA Architects, Collier's project leaders and their associate firms, and to all those that have served on the library board, library and town staff, and various stakeholder groups over the past decade. Lastly, to Cindy and Monty Goebel, whose incredibly generous donation of these 20 acres is allowing this project to take place in the urban core of our town. I'm forever grateful to you for this generous gift. As you can see, we've got equipment ready to get out here today from Fowler Construction, an amazing local company that will be doing the site work, putting locals to work right here to kick this project off. And you should know that not only did they come in with a price under budget to do that work, but also with a $250,000 donation towards construction. Thank you, Larry and John, for your incredible support. We've got a lot more fantastic support announcements coming in the very near future. Stay tuned, there's more good news on the way. But today, thanks Premier Ford, thanks members of the provincial government for your incredible support for Bracebridge and for Muskoka. And now I'd like to introduce District Chair John Klink.
Good job. Well done. Very well done.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And following those three distinguished gentlemen makes my task very easy. But I, in addition to welcoming the Premier once again to Muskoka, on behalf of my colleagues at Muskoka District Council, always a pleasure, Premier, to have you with us. And Premier, it has undoubtedly been a difficult 15 months for all of us, and I feel compelled to thank you and your colleagues and your staff throughout the province of Ontario for your leadership and the tremendous work that you have done on behalf of all Ontarians and Canadians in this pandemic. You know, the Premier is an exceptionally busy man, and for him to find the time to join us here in Muskoka to make this announcement on behalf of the town of Bracebridge, to me is very special, and I know it's very personally special to the Mayor and his council. So Premier, thank you very much for attending, and Mr. Miller, thank you as well for all that you have done in the work towards this announcement today. I feel compelled to offer my congratulations to the town of Bracebridge, to you, Mayor Smith, and your councils. This has been a project that you've been working so very hard with your staff on for all of my time as the district chairman, and I compliment you on not only what you have arrived at, but the process you've undertaken to ensure that community played a significant role in the thought process behind what will be built behind us. So congratulations to you, your worship, and your community. And finally, on behalf of not only my colleagues at District Council, District staff, but also the greater community of Muskoka, I just want to thank the province and the town of Bracebridge for creating another amenity that will benefit not only the citizens of Bracebridge, but all of the residents of Muskoka, and indeed visitors from throughout Ontario. And you know, we're such an integrated community, and the success of Port Severn or Port Carling, Bracebridge, Gravenhurst, Huntsville, Port Sydney is critical to their neighbors, and the amenities that will be offered here will benefit the broader community, and it will help in terms of the employment opportunities that the Mayor has mentioned, but also the recreational amenities, visitation, and the recovery, Mr. Premier, from the pandemic. So once again, thank you, sir, for attending. Thank you for your government support. And I would be remiss if I didn't conclude with, beyond the thanks for your work in the pandemic, I have to say that we should all take note of the fact that virtually all of the business, certainly of the District of Muskoka, which I'm most familiar with, has not lost a beat throughout the pandemic. And that is a tribute to not only the funding that's been provided to municipalities across Ontario, but also the resources, Mr. Premier, that you provided to all municipalities across Ontario. And for that, on behalf of all of our citizens, we're exceptionally grateful. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much, Chair. Okay.
We'll take questions from the media, one by one, from the microphone. Each person will get one question, one follow-up, please. And we'll start with James from your TV.
Thank you. Hi, Premier.
Hi, James. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
First of all, thanks very much for this. I know we were a little disappointed when we didn't get the federal venture funding, and so it's very exciting this community is now getting the funding it needs.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I want to just go away from this for a second, Premier, and talk about Canada Day. There's been a lot of calls, especially from Mohawk Territory, to not have any fireworks, not have major Canada Day celebrations. Our Prime Minister as well is moving in that direction. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's time for Ontarians to reflect on what has happened to the First Nations communities in the past for decades and decades, and it's an absolute tragedy. Our heart breaks for their communities. The province, I understand, I get it. That's not our jurisdiction, but we're there to support them. We're there to support them with any resources, anything they need. I've talked to numerous chiefs around the province, and we'll be there for them. I know we put out $10 million, but we're going to be there to support them any way we can. And I just ask Ontarians to reflect over Canada Day on what has taken place. And I just want everyone in the First Nations community right across Ontario and Canada to know that we have their backs.
And just as a follow-up, in terms of COVID-19, we're moving into stage 2 this Wednesday. Simcoe Muskoka has been named a Delta variant hot zone, but we haven't seen any more than 10 cases a day in this last week. How close are we to maybe moving into stage 3 a little bit earlier than expected?
Well, that's a great question. I was just speaking to Dr. Gardner, and we're seeing the Delta variant is closer to the Barrie region, and it is such a massive jurisdiction. And I think when we get through this, we may have to split that up to reduce it, because it's really not fair to the people of Parry Sound and Bracebridge, Huntsville region, what happens an hour and a bit away. So hopefully we'll get things moving as soon as possible. There's no one that wants to open this province up more than I do. We're very, very close. We'll be sitting down with the new Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Moore, and we'll get his advice, and if he gives us the green light, let's get this province open and start moving. I can't wait. I really can't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Moose FM.
Hi, how you doing? Good.
Matthew Rice from Moose.
Hey, Matthew.
Just wanted to follow up on my colleague James' question. I know it's likely you might not have a correct answer to this, considering this new medical officer coming into, but how quickly do you expect those talks to go on between separating Simcoe and Muskoka? I know that from reporting on this locally extensively, it's been an ongoing conversation.
It's ongoing.
So how quickly do you expect that
Well,
conversation to change with the new medical officer?
Yeah, I think we have to get through this pandemic. To be very frank with you, we'll do a review, but again, it's just such a large region, and it's, put it bluntly, it's unfair to other parts of this region. It's not fair. You know, do you know how many times I got a call from Mayor Huntsville and Bracebridge, Parry Sound, and I know Norm voiced his opinion numerous times. Doug Downey, our Attorney General, Jill Dunlop, all the representatives up here. It's not fair. So we're going to get through this pandemic, then we're going to have a good chat, and may have to redraw the boundaries, because you can't. You know, we're almost an hour away. If you go to the far part of Huntsville, and or by Parry Sound, and then all the way to Bracebridge, there's a big distance, big gap there. So we're going to jump on this.
And speaking about the multi-use community center, I know previously
Yes.
the province, there was a community didn't fund this project initially, but we've now circled back, thanks as you spoke to about constant calls from Mayor Smith about this.
Yes.
What led to the decision to go back and to provide the $60 million in funding?
Well, there's a certain pot, and it goes right across Ontario, you know, and they have X amount of dollars. We had 10 times more asks, and we just had to run through it. And really, I give all the credit to these three gentlemen back here. It's persistence. I know Norm was fighting for it, the chair, and especially Graydon. And you know, I was joking around, but I'm serious. He'd call me every single week. He'd call the treasurer. He'd call the finance minister. He'd call anyone that wanted to listen to him, and rightfully so. And I'm proud that he's representing the people of Bracebridge, and the people of Bracebridge, man, they have a loud voice down at Queens Park. It can't be ignored, because as the chair said, this facility is not just going to be for the people of Bracebridge. It's for the whole region. That people are going to come here and just enjoy it. So it's just a fabulous community centers. I've always said, I came from council, walked a mile in their shoes, as I always say. Nothing's more important than community centers, community hubs that people can gather for all different reasons, and that's where towns come together, at their local community center, community hub. So I'm excited.
Thank you, Premier.
Yeah, thank you.
Next is Country 102.
Hey, Premier.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Doug, you love Muskoka,
I do.
and you've been here last year with a lot of money for the Muskoka Brewery.
We did.
Bracebridge really benefits from your visits.
Yes.
Can you tell us about what kind of things went into deciding for this project as opposed to others? Like why there was a decision for this one as opposed to other projects at this time?
Well, we try to split it equally all across the province and jurisdictions that need it. One stood out was the arena was, I think, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, in the entire province. What was it, Graydon, 70 years? Or
More than 70 years.
yeah, more than 70 years. So, you know, after 70 years and many governments prior to us ignoring this region, we aren't about to ignore the great people in the Parry Sound Muskoka area. We want to be there to support them, and I know we did some great work in Parry Sound up by the airport as well. That Norm was a big advocate of that. So this is a really booming area. Everyone's getting out of Dodge per se. After this pandemic, we're putting broadband right across the province. I always say, if there's an infrastructure project and everything's important, the roads, the bridges, the highways are important, nothing is more important than broadband. Nothing. So we're putting a ton of money. I think it's well over $4 billion to make sure everyone has high-speed internet right across the province. Even in the far rural northern communities will have it, and that's going to happen real quick. I know Minister Surma is working on it as we speak, and that's why she's not here today. She's working on this broadband project. And more people are just moving up to the cottages and making it their home now. They don't want to be stuck in a busy city. And who wouldn't want to come up to God's country here? It's beautiful, stunning. And be able to work from home. I think that's the way of the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is City TV.
Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Mr. Premier, nice start out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
What I'm asking is, why isn't the economy open? When we look at the numbers and how low they are, and they're consistently low
Yeah.
now, and that matches with September numbers. In September, we had restaurants open. In September,
Yeah.
people can go there for a lunch here in Bracebridge. Why can't we do it now? Because what's different with the science table?
Yeah. So again, with the science table and the health table, Jamie, I just have to get advice from the docs. You know, I want to get things open as quickly as possible. I think it's going to come sooner than later. The numbers dropped again, and we need to get the economy booming. The only few things that aren't open are the indoor dining, which is going to happen, and really outside of the casinos and strip joints. They're the only three things that aren't open now. I'll be honest with you. Everything else seems to be moving forward, but again, we have to be cautious about the Delta variant and the gyms. The gyms, my heart breaks for the people. We've got to get those gyms open. Folks, just bear with us for a very short period. It's going to happen. I have to follow the direction of the chief medical officer. Jamie, everyone has this perception. I'm the premier. I get to snap my fingers and get it done. It just doesn't work that way. Yes. Do we work together as a team? Do I have a big say in it? 100%. But I also believe in surrounding myself with medical professionals throughout this whole pandemic, and I'm listening to the doctor's advice.
One thing that isn't open is hair salons.
Wednesday.
But I'm looking at, when you look at the number of vaccines out there, 70% of people are single vax, almost 30% now
Yep.
are double vax. That wasn't a factor in September, but businesses were open in September. Businesses aren't open now, whether it's any one of them.
I agree with you.
People are having a tough time rounding that.
You know, Jamie, I agree with you. I'm a business person. I'm balancing the economy between healthcare. Without the health, we don't have an economy. Again, folks, there's no one that wants to open this economy up more than I do. I think we're pretty well 90% there, but it's not good enough in my opinion. So just hang in there. We'll be talking to the chief medical officer, and I'm going to do everything we can safely. I want to repeat safely. Open things up. It's absolutely critical.
And this is our last question from
Yes.
Muskoka today.
Yep. How you doing?
Good to see you. Welcome here.
Yeah.
I'd like to double back to the local issue.
Yes.
You're a seasonal resident in
I am.
North Sydney.
Yep.
And I guess you heard about the tragic news yesterday.
Tragedy.
And I just wondered, is there anything that the province can do to help the municipalities, specifically Huntsville and or Muskoka, for that site? Obviously, you know the site.
I've been down it.
Yeah.
So, folks, what we're describing is there's some falls in Port Sydney, and you can go there on a beautiful day, and there's hundreds of people. My kids have gone down these falls. If you're going, please wear a life jacket. Am I not wrong? Almost every year someone dies there. Almost every single year, someone dies and drowns there. The only thing is, I'm thinking of having a lifeguard if it's that busy, because I live down the street, and I'm not exaggerating when I say upwards to 100 people on those rocks there, and they're going down these falls, and at the end of it, there's a whirlpool, and it will suck you down to a certain degree, and you can't get out. So anyone that's not wearing a life jacket, you're taking your life in your hands, and it's heartbreaking. So wear a life jacket. I wouldn't even mind pitching in for a lifeguard if for whatever it cost, a few $1,000s throughout the summer. I'd be funding. I think it's still the town of Huntsville. You guys are right in the middle, Bracebridge and Huntsville. But even the town of Muskoka, to put a lifeguard there, it's dangerous, and people don't realize how dangerous and how strong that current is. But it's just heartbreaking to lose two young people for what? Because they didn't, it was terrible.
You didn't know them, did you?
No, but it's a shame because the people come from all over the place and they don't realize how powerful that is. You go down there, you go down on your butt, and then you hit those that whirlpool at the end. It's hard to get out. And I used to tell my kids, you aren't going there without a life jacket, and I was always there with them. But it was always made me nervous every time I go.
Yeah, so just quickly, a year from now there's an election there, and you're hoping the economy can pick up and pay for all these promises that you're making in the next year. Is that fair? I mean, is that believable, understandable?
Yeah, well, I took an approach when I got elected last time. We were in a financial mess. We were the largest debt in the entire world. Our hydro costs were the highest in North America, and everyone said raise taxes. And I take a different approach: get the economy booming. So when we took office, we had lost 300,000 jobs. We took office, and within about 14 to 16 months, we created the environment, because government doesn't create jobs. It'd be a nightmare if we created jobs. We created the environment for companies to thrive and prosper and grow. We created 307,000 new jobs, and those 307,000 people, rather than taking from the government, they were giving to the government. We ended up with a $2 billion surplus. Our economy is going to be on fire, folks. I'm predicting, I know this is a tough prediction, we're going to see 6% growth, which is massive. I think it might even be higher. The biggest problem we had right before the pandemic, we were short 250,000 people to fill the jobs. And we're going to be in the same position. We're an economic powerhouse in North America, and I give all the credit to the people here. It's not the government. The government doesn't create jobs. We'll create an environment for companies to come in from all over the world, and our Minister Vic Fideli sends me an update every single day about new companies. And we're just on fire with new companies coming in, especially in the tech industry as well. We're the most diverse jurisdiction anywhere in North America when it comes to the largest mining, forestry, artificial intelligence, tech, automotive, agriculture, manufacturing. I could go on and on and on. There's no region in North America that can compete against us. And the talent that we have coming out of the colleges and universities, that's my number one selling feature. When I go out and around and I talk to these CEOs of corporations, said you will never find a talent pool like you will in Ontario, and the quality of life. Quality of life, you can't beat it. Folks, come to Ontario, open up a business. We're there to support you, and we're the best anywhere in the world, Ontario. Anywhere. I'm convinced of it.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Thanks.